The 2025 Kyushu Basho arrived loaded with high expectations. Which Rikishi delivered flashes of greatness? Which ones left fans and pundits with doubts? Between meteoric rises, inconsistent performances, and youthful promise beginning to show, this tournament painted a vivid mosaic of contrast among the competitors. On the SumoSpirit channel, we bring you both the winners and the losers of Kyushu Basho. Let's dive in. Yoshinofuji Megashira 5 East. Yoshinofuji, before called Kusano, closed the Kyushu Basho with a strong kachikoshi of 9 wins and 6 losses. On top of that, he earned the Technique Prize, a clear sign of recognition from the judges for his skillful and effective sumo. That combination, a winning record plus a special prize, makes him one of the clear winners of the tournament. Despite being still young and relatively new to the top division, debuting in July of this year. During the tournament, he showed flashes of real potential. He gave one of the standout performances when he upset Onosato Daiki, a top opponent, demonstrating his ability to compete with the best. That said, his path was not without setbacks. On the final day, he lost to Takayasu Akira by Oshi-taoshi, and that defeat denied him an immediate promotion to Sanyaku. Nevertheless, this final stumble does not erase the overall strength of his performance. Looking ahead, with 9-6 from Megashira 5 East, Yoshinofuji is very likely to climb several ranks on the next banzuke. If he keeps this momentum, maintains technical consistency, and avoids injuries, the door to entering the upper ranks, Sanyaku, seems wide open for him. Ozeki Koto Zakura. Koto Zakura ended the 2025 Kyushu Basho with a modest 8 wins and 7 losses. Technically a kachikoshi, but for an Ozeki with high expectations, it feels more like a stumble than a success. Before the tournament, many eyes were on him. As Ozeki, he carries the weight of big expectations, and after previous strong showings, many expected him to be a serious contender. In the first days of Kyushu, he struggled to find rhythm. Early losses piled up and left him hovering around mid-table. Some reports even mentioned knee soreness that may have affected his aggression and performance. He did have a moment of redemption on day 14. He defeated Onosato Daiki, a major upset, showing glimpses of the power and technique expected of him. But on the final day, he lost to Aonishiki. That defeat not only extinguished any hopes of contending for the Yusho, but also underscored the inconsistency of his tournament. For an Ozeki, 8-7 simply does not match expectations. It leaves doubts about form and readiness when facing top opponents. The knee concerns and lack of consistency hurt his ability to build momentum. Even a big win against Onosato was overshadowed by shaky bouts and a weak finish. In a tournament where other wrestlers rose strongly, Koto Zakura's performance, though technically positive, looks weak in comparison. Koto Zakura still retains by rank the privileges of an Ozeki, but after a borderline performance like this, pressure will build for a strong showing in the next Basho. If he does not return with a confident, stable 10-5 or better, many will start questioning whether he still fits the role of a top-rank Ozeki. Ichiyamamoto Daiki, Megashira 8 East. Ichiyamamoto finished the 2025 Kyushu Basho with an impressive 11-4 record. With that performance, he earned the Fighting Spirit Prize Kantosho, sharing it with another standout Rikishi. Coming into Kyushu, Ichiyamamoto was coming off a rough Akibasho. Many expected maybe a modest kachikoshi, something like 8-7, but instead he turned that slump into a strong comeback. That makes this result feel much more valuable because it shows he regained confidence, aggression, and composure. True to his fighting style, Ichiyamamoto built his tournament with pure Oshi sumo, heavy tsupari, precise footwork, and relentless pushing. On final day, his bout against Wakamoto Haru was the perfect example. He unleashed a barrage of thrusts from the takiai aimed directly at Wakamoto Haru's chest, then pushed him out with an okuri takiai style finishing pushdown, okuri taoshi, to seal his 11th win. What does this mean going forward? Jumping from Megashira 8 to an 11-4 sets, Ichiyamamoto up for a serious rise in the next banzuke, likely around Megashira 3 or 4 for the 2026 Hatsu Basho. If he keeps up this momentum and aggressive style, he could become a very dangerous challenger for Sanyaku-level Rikishi. Abi, Megashira 6. Abi finished the 2025 Kyushu Basho with a poor 5-10 record. That makekoshi clearly removes him from serious title contention and will push him downward in the next ranking. Going into Kyushu, many hoped that even if he was no longer a top contender, he could at least secure a solid kachikoshi, 8-7. Instead, he fell far short of that target. The problem for Abi was more than a couple of bad bouts. His usual Oshizumo style, thrusts and pushes, lost effectiveness when opponents managed to resist and adapt. His sumo became predictable, and his early losing streak in the first half of the Basho sank his chances. With 5-10, Abi is likely to drop several ranks in the next banzuke. Matchups against Sanyaku wrestlers will become harder, and his margin for error will shrink. For someone who once reached Seikiwake and looked like a contender, this is a wake-up call that his career needs recalibration if he wants to return to form. Fujinokawa Seigo, Maegashira 12 East. Fujinokawa ended the 2025 Kyushu Basho with a solid 9-6 record. That is a very good result coming from such a low rank and ensures his stay in the top division. His performance confirms that his debut in Makuuchi was not a fluke, but the start of a serious presence among the top-level Rikishi. Fujinokawa made his top division debut in the July 2025 tournament. In that debut, he impressed with a 10-5 score, a result that immediately put his name on everyone's radar. After a setback in the next tournament 6-9, his 9-6 inches Kyushu shows resilience and recovery under pressure. What makes his Kyushu performance stand out is not raw power but tactical consistency. He relies on Oshizumo, pushing, thrusting, good footwork, and precise timing. Rather than dominating every match, he managed to win the bouts that counted, often finishing with Oshidashi or Yorikiri when he kept good control. Observers remarked that on day 5 of the tournament, when he defeated a higher-ranked wrestler, Koto Shoho, he dominated the takiai and used strong thrusts to push him out, showing confidence even early on. Looking ahead, finishing 9-6 at Maegashira 12 East should earn Fujinokawa a significant jump up the banzuke for the next tournament. If he continues to apply his style with consistency and keeps improving, maybe adding some belt work or variation, he could establish himself as a solid mid-rank Makuuchi Rikishi and even challenge top-tier opponents in future Basho. Wakatakag, Atsushi. Maegashira 2 West. Wakatakag ended the 2025 Kyushu Basho with a 7-8 record. This makekoshi is especially harsh for a Rikishi with ambitions of returning to Sanyaku. Before the tournament, expectations were high. Having shown in earlier tournaments that he could fight at a high level after recovering from injuries, many hoped he would achieve a solid kachikoshi, perhaps 9-6 or better, and push again for Sanyaku status. Instead, the Basho started poorly. Early losses in the first week suggested that his knee, and perhaps his confidence, were still not completely recovered. Even when he tried to fight back, his efforts were not enough to offset the bad start. At times, Wakatakag did show glimpses of his former style. Good grip, Yori-style driving, fluid movement, and attempt at counterattacks. But those flashes came too late or too sporadically to secure a winning record. Because of the 7-8 result, Wakatakag probably moves away, for now, from Sanyaku contention. On the next banzuke, he is likely to fall somewhere around Maegashira 4 or 5. That means fewer high-profile bouts, less pressure, but also fewer opportunities to make a strong statement and climb back up. For a wrestler aiming high, this result is a clear disappointment. If Wakatakag wants to re-establish himself among the elite, he will need to come back in the next Basho with stronger consistency, better health, and a clear plan to avoid early losses. Kirishima Tetsuo, Maegashira 2 East. Kirishima closed the 2025 Kyushu Basho with a strong 11-4 record. That result earned him the Fighting Spirit Prize Kantosho, a deserved recognition of his revived performance after a turbulent season. Coming into Fukuoka, Kirishima carried a story full of ups and downs, including injuries and inconsistent results. With this 11-4, he re-established himself among the top performers of the tournament. Throughout Kyushu, he combined power with technique. His favorite winning moves remained his classic style, a strong Hidari Yotsu grip, then Yorikiri or a well-timed throw when the opponent slipped, Nage. By chaining wins and navigating tough bouts with composure, Kirishima proved that his former Ozeki level, even if not yet fully regained, is not far off. Does this 11-4 bring him back to Ozeki? Officially no, but many in the sumo world argue that this tournament solidified his case for re-promotion. That narrative makes sense. A former Ozeki, hitting back with a strong result just weeks after a 6-9, sends a strong message. Even if another wrestler also competes for Sanyaku spots, Kirishima's performance during Kyushu can hardly be ignored. Onosato, Yokozuna East. Onosato entered the 2025 Kyushu Basho as the favorite. For much of the tournament, he looked like he might dominate. By day 9, he was undefeated and leading the table. But things unraveled in the final stretch. On day 10, he suffered a defeat, and another on day 14 to Koto Zakura Masakatsu 2 by Yorikiri, a loss that ended his bid for a perfect championship. On top of that, reports after the match said he dislocated his left shoulder. As a result, he withdrew on day 15 instead of fighting for the Yusho or a playoff. Officially, his record shows 11-4, but as a current Yokozuna with high expectations, this result feels more like a fall than a success. The injuries and collapse at the end turned what could have been a strong tournament into a major missed opportunity. What went wrong and what it means? His early performance, powerful, controlled, balanced, looked like the makings of a championship run. He was using Yotsuzumo, the belt grappling effectively, and looked solid across the basho. But after the losses in the final days and the shoulder injury, he was forced to bow out. That not only cost him a possible Yusho, but also exposed how narrow the margin is at the elite level. One injury or bad match can dismantle everything. For a 2-4-year-old with rising star status, this is a serious lesson. Even for a Yokozuna, physical condition and endurance across all 15 days remain essential. Ozeki Aonishiki. Aonishiki closed the 2025 Kyushu Basho with a record of 12-3, winning the Emperor's Cup after a dramatic playoff. In the playoff, he defeated the grand champion Hoshoryu, showing strategic calm, strong grips, and versatile technique before finishing with a throw that clinched victory. This was not a random win. Aonishiki came into Kyushu with momentum and clear ambitions. Throughout the tournament, he balanced power and technique, blending belt work, good footwork, and timing. Because of this performance, he earned 2 special prizes, the Outstanding Performance Prize and the Technique Prize. His victory is historic. Aonishiki became the first Ukrainian ever to win a top-division sumo tournament. Moreover, given how quickly he's risen in sumo, only 14 tournaments as a professional before this Yusho, many expect that his promotion to Ozeki, formalized ahead of the next tournament, is just the beginning of what could become a remarkable career. What does this mean from now on? With this result, Aonishiki firmly establishes himself as a rising star and a dangerous opponent even for Sanyaku and Yokozuna. His combination of physical strength, technique, and mental composure shows he can handle pressure. If he keeps this trajectory, consistency, adaptability, and growth, Aonishiki could quickly become one of the faces of sumo's next generation. Hakuho Tetsuya, Megashira 1 East. Hakuho finished the 2025 Kyushu Basho with a 6-9 record, a clear makekoshi. For a wrestler returning to the top division ranked at Megashira 1, that number hurts more for what it signals than for the raw tally. The position meant facing elite, Sanyaku-level opponents from the start, a brutal schedule under which early losses pile up fast. Hakuho had undergone serious injuries in prior tournaments, shoulder surgery in 2023, and further arm issues during 2020-24 that slowed his momentum. While he showed flashes of his talent, bursts of energy, thrusts, and some good footwork, he was unable to string together enough wins to stabilize his standing. The heavy pressure of tough matchups and lingering physical fragility weighed on him across the tournament. The 6-9 outcome will likely cost Hakuho a drop in the banzuke, down to more manageable Megashira ranks, against less elite opposition. That could give him a chance to rebuild confidence, recover fully, and avoid the punishing early matchups he faced at M1. For a young wrestler whose fighting style is built on power, speed, and bold moves, this makekoshi is a bitter but perhaps necessary reset. If he uses the break to strengthen his shoulder, refine his defense, and build consistency, he can still return as a dangerous and exciting Rikishi. Because Kyushu Basho 2025 not only delivered final records, but offered stories full of nuance, surprises, and warnings. Unexpected victories, signs of evolution, and shadows some Rikishi will have to dispel in the next Basho. Who will seize the throne when the drum sounds again for the next tournament? The answer will come with the next Honbasho, and it promises to be just as thrilling. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the SumoSpirit channel for more sumo breakdowns. See you in the next video.